Previously, we mentioned that to create a corridor, you need not only the linear path for that corridor, whether it's alignment and profile or a feature line, but you also need the typical section to be applied to that path to create the 3D model. That typical section is referred to as a Civil 3D assembly. Now, an assembly is nothing more than a collection of sub-assemblies. Sub-assemblies come shipped with Autodesk AutoCAD Civil 3D, over 150 different types of sub-assemblies. Sub-assemblies, such as the one you see currently, could be lanes or curbs and gutters, sidewalk, daylight functionality, and so forth. Now, the sub-assemblies are made of 3 different types of objects or elements: a link, a point, and a shape. Now, think about a subassembly that we're looking at now. It's a cross-sectional view of a curb and gutter. You create this cross-sectional view by having points at important or critical locations, such as the edge of travelway, where it's connecting to the lane, at the location of the flow line along the face of the curb, at the top face of curb, the top back curb, and so forth. These are points that make up the subassembly. Now, between the points and the cross-sectional direction, you have lines that connect these points. They're referred to as links for the subassembly. When the links create a closed space, you have the ability to have a shape. So a subassembly is made up of these 3 different components. Now, the interesting thing is these different components or elements that make up a subassembly are all coded. We're going to use the analogy of social media, and we're going to consider the codes applied to each one of these subcomponents or elements as hashtags. And because of that, you have the ability to provide or give more codes than just one to each subcomponent. So the point located right at the face flow line, that could be coded as face of curb. But you could also have this one coded in 2 different ways. You could have it coded at the edge of travelway. You could also have it coded gutter line or beginning of gutter. Now think about the links. In this case, this is the gutter, but it also is the top of your surface. And so you can have a lot of different codes. We're going to see how each one of these codes for the points, shapes, and links within the subassemblies really drive the creation of the 3D model, and use those codes also not just to create the 3D model, but to analyze and even create a surface from those codes. We can also stylize information based upon those codes. So let's review. The typical section you apply to create a corridor model is called an assembly. An assembly is nothing more than a collection of subassemblies. Subassemblies come provided to you from Autodesk with your software Civil 3D. Subassemblies are lanes, curb and gutter, and so forth. Subassemblies are made of points, links, and shapes. Points, links, and shapes within the subassembly have codes. Those codes are what we use to stylize, create surfaces, and analyze the information within the corridor.